Hi guys, and welcome back from Carly at the Herbathicary. Really good to see you guys again. If you're new to the channel or like the videos, please show your support by hitting like and subscribe down below. So tonight I welcome you all to my not quite finished yet conservatory, but I've escaped in here tonight because it's March 18th, it's a full moon, and as my 10-year-old has over the last year or so been getting into her spiritual side and getting her witch on, um, tonight we did a full moon ritual. We blessed our crystals, recharged their power, we made moon water, and we've popped that out on the outside altar so that that can charge under the full moon. She's really following in Mommy's footsteps, and you'll have to excuse me, it's quite chilly in here. We haven't got the heating yet, and we haven't got lighting yet, so we've got candles, but that's even cooler. But since she's been getting into it, she's put in so much extra effort into doing research. I mean, as you all know, I know this video is a bit different, and you'll normally see me either crocheting or out picking plants and herbs. She's always been into that with me. You've seen her in the videos making pots and everything else, but she's been putting in a lot more of her own effort. She already knows a lot of the medicinal qualities, but now she's taking it on to the, I suppose you could call it, the magical side. So I'm really proud of her. Her birthday is in 4 weeks, no, 3.5 weeks time, and I really wanted to make her a little magic kit. So Daddy, the one with the sign on his workshop that says where everything gets done eventually, is making her a chest. My brother has a laser engraver, so he's going to engrave on it for her, and inside her chest I would like all the herbs that she would use, some candles, a mix of candles. So far she has a red, a black and a white one, which I might have to replace. So all her candles, her incense, some crystals. So far we were going to go with, she's not having these ones, they're mine. So we've got clear quartz, rose quartz, black tourmaline, hematite for centering, very important. She's definitely needs centering. Some amethyst, probably some agates and other things, but I will decide on that one when I take myself up to Dry Rain in Liverpool and go see what they've got. I do hope they're open again. I haven't been there since before, let's just call it before 19. So today what I'm going to be making is a smudge stick for her. Don't worry, I know she's only 10, well, almost 11, she will remind you of that. The smudge stick will be something that I will be a part of, as is the incense, as is the candles. She has a safety holder for the incense, goes on top of this doodad, so no one can touch the hot bit, and it's also really pretty, but I'm going to get her another one. And the candles are only allowed lit while I'm in her room, which, believe it or not, is quite often and for quite a while. She's good fun, so I like spending time with her. They both are. In fact, all three of them are. All my kids are fun, in different ways. Just great fun. So, yeah. So today we're going to be making a smudge stick. So I digress, because they're quiet for a minute, because it's a special day, or a special day in our house anyway, now. Although we did wish that the spring equinox and the full moon would converge, but, excuse me, but that one didn't quite happen. So yeah, we did wish that the spring equinox and the full would converge. Not that lucky this year, but today we've been out in our garden, and I know it's a sad time of year, so my herbs look very sad, but on the upside, this is the perfect time of year to prune them for new growth. So we have some sage, and we have some poorly looking rosemary, but it still smells beautiful. And over there we have some twigs of the lavender we dried from last year. So all we're going to be doing is making a relatively small smudge stick for her little box. See, you can make yours longer, you can make it shorter, you can make it fatter, you can make it thinner. When I give them as gifts, I normally wrap a crystal in with it, so a clear quartz crystal, but I normally wrap that at the bottom, because what I found is when it gets to that point, you can't hold it unless you have tongs, but what you're supposed to do at that point is just put it in a burner and burn it. I suppose it doesn't matter if the crystal gets burnt, but as I will be giving her crystals in her box as well, and she can use them as part of the ritual, I won't be putting a crystal on this one. But you can add whatever you want, you can add whatever herbs you want. Lemon barb smells absolutely amazing when burnt. For grown-ups, I add mugwort, as that is supposed to have effects for vivid dreaming, but I don't want to mess with her dreaming at this age. So again, feel free to add it if that's the kind of thing that you want to try. Alright, so let's get into making our smudge stick, or her smudge stick rather. So as we are just coming to the end of winter and spring is on its way, my sage, which I forgot to trim back last year, has got quite woody, and we mainly want the leaf bits, so I am going to trim off most of the woody bits and just get those leaves. Once we've done it at the end, I will actually be neatening it up or squaring it up. So I'm just going to chop off those woody bits till we have a big enough pile for the base or the main part of our smudge stick. Now, as I said, you can make it as thick or as long, as thin, as short as you want. But the purpose behind a smudge stick is supposed to be to purify your space, your home, wherever you're going to use it. Now, sage, predominantly, normally use white sage, but we couldn't source it, and I've tried so many times to grow it and failed miserably. I don't know why my seeds never actually germinate. I'm thinking possibly because they've come from China and they might get irradiated when they come through the post. Nothing to do with it coming through China or from China, just that they might get irradiated when they come through the post. But I don't know, that one's just a guess. But the reason we're using these herbs is the sage should purify the area, and rosemary is to promote good healing and health. So we'll clear the area out, and then we want to bring in the healing energy and the good health energy. And of course, lavender is for love and also purification. So we're doubling up here. So what I'm doing is I'm using those rosemary twigs, as they've got some length, and I'm actually using them to build the sage around so that I have a firm base to work with. So I'm just going to keep wrapping, and where I'm doing it, I am putting the leaves all in the same direction. So said, at the end, once I've tied it up, I am going to trim those bits off. We will be tying all the leaves tight with our thread at the end. So once I've got all the way to the base, and once I've worked all my way to the bottom, if you keep holding it down and you layer them like this, you can just keep holding them so all the leaves stay in place. Now I've got those dried lavender twigs, and I do find that the little bits of the lavender fall off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck them in between those sage leaves, and we'll just tuck them in, and then I'm going to use the sage leaves to actually wrap around the lavender so it keeps it in the middle and stops the little bits from falling all over the place. So once I've got all those bits in place, we'll just tuck that one there. And I actually soaked just some of my white string that I had in tea overnight to give it a nicer tea stained color. And I'm just going to bend that in half, and then starting at the bottom, so the twiggy bit of the sage, I'm just going to wrap that around a couple of times. So we've now got the two ends, and I'm going to keep wrapping them and crisscrossing them as I go. So crisscross, pull it tight, wrap round to the back, crisscross, and if you go up quite close together under those leaves, you can actually bend those sage leaves around so that they wrap around the lavender. Now it can be quite fiddly, so I'm just going to keep wrapping all the way up. Now you do want to wrap it quite tight, as when the herbs dry they will actually shrink, so as tight as you can, wrapping as many of those leaves in as you can. And then when you get to the top, you're just going to tie those two bits of thread together. Now if you are hanging it, you can make a little loop and tie the top, but I'm just going to snip these off and add an extra bit to hang it up that I will cut off later. So I'm just tying mine off at the top with a tight double knot, and at this point it is basically ready. Just tidy up my workspace, although I am going to trim these bits off now. So I've just got my snippers, and I'm going to trim the top and trim the bottom just to straighten it off. Trim off any of those excess leaves that are sticking out the side that didn't quite get tied down. Then, as I said, I'm just going to, once this is all nicely trimmed up and I've got rid of most of those woody bits at the end, I'm just going to tie this other bit of string around the top so that I can hang it up to dry. So this is just a simple knot. Sorry, that's my little man stomping around. So yeah, it's basically ready now. You could leave it like this and dry it, but as I want to hang it up, I'm just going to tie one extra bit of string around the bottom, just do a double knot, loop that so that I can hang it up in the boiler cupboard to dry. Hopefully she won't sneak in there because it is actually in her room. So just a double knot, then knot the top, and I will hang that up to dry. And this is what I made earlier. So this is our completely dried smudge stick, ready to burn and purify her room. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope my little girl enjoys her witchy birthday. The next video I'll be doing is how I made the pattern for her cloak, and I'll also show you the wand that I made her, the cauldron that I made her, and the ingredients jars or her herb jars for her spells.